Right then, let's talk about Kobbie Mainoo. What do we do with him? Amorim's words say that he loves him, but his squad selection seems to say different. Is there a cause for concern, or is it all part of a greater plan to adapt him, to fit him in the long term? Now, Mainoo's limited game time in recent weeks appears to stem from probably a combination of things. Against Arsenal, Amorim opted for a midfield partnership of Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro. Why didn't he go with Mainoo? Well, to be honest, I think he was probably the fourth choice in that. In my own team selection, I went with Ugarte and Casemiro, with Bruno playing as one of the 10s, thinking that probably Mbeumo wouldn't have started, but Sesko might have done. Now, obviously, I got that wrong. But the logic was there. Why Casemiro? Why did Casemiro start? Well, Arsenal have a specific threat at set plays, as we saw. And Casemiro's probably United's best player when it comes to set plays in both boxes. So I thought Casemiro would be a massive asset when it came to dealing with those set plays. So I thought Casemiro had to play. I also expected Arsenal to take the ball, have the ball, and put it onto United, which is why I thought that having Ugarte in the team would probably be a good move, a prudent move alongside Casemiro in that midfield. Didn't think Bruno had the positional discipline against a bigger team, which we did see at times, actually. There was gaps in behind him, which he was pressing and leaving for him. I hope that gets picked up by the analysis team and hopefully rectified, because I think Bruno can play there. I just think he needs to adapt some of his game to do that. So I opted for Bruno a little bit higher, because the thing is, whenever you're picking a Manchester United team, you have to write Bruno Fernandes in it, because he is going to play. As the captain, as someone that plays every single week, is never injured and doesn't ever need a break, he will play, right? There is no doubts whatsoever that Bruno Fernandes is going to fit in. So where does Mainoo come into this? Mainoo would have been the fourth choice. Now, that's not always going to be the case. There are use cases where Mainoo moves up the pecking order. But Bruno Fernandes will be number one in every instance. Bruno Fernandes is the first pick for one of those two positions, which means only 3 into 1 ain't going to go. Casemiro, Ugarte and Mainoo have to fight for one position. Why? Is it a lack of mobility? You can argue that. I don't think he looks as agile or nimble. He can do with the ball and he can operate in tight spaces, but there's kind of like there's an agility to playing in that position without the ball, which we have not seen him demonstrate just yet. I think that'd be fair to say. Is it because there's a reluctance to play Bruno anywhere in one of the forward line positions? Is there a way for you to get Mbeumo, Cunha and Bruno into the same team? Not when you have Sesko in there as well. Not when Mason Mount is clearly an option that he likes as well. Injuries have probably played a significant role. Last season got totally derailed. He missed 17 games because of 2 separate injuries. He didn't have a pre-season. There was another setback in training earlier this year that kept him out for 6 weeks, something like that. He returned in April, and that's really disrupted his momentum with Amorim. That first season, this was the boy that could have gone and done anything. That second season really derailed all the progress that was made in that first season as a first-team player. Can you argue Amorim's system is an issue if it is unable to accommodate Mainoo? Maybe. But I don't think it's a complete freeze-out. We saw him in pre-season, but it seems like his minutes are inconsistent, especially with so many more experienced players that are also vying for spots that actually don't quite suit any of them. And I've spoken about this multiple times. None of our midfielders, none of our 4 first-choice midfielders are a natural for any of the positions that they're trying to play. Now, Mainoo's ambitions have to centre on establishing himself as a first-choice starter for Manchester United. They have to. But you could easily see other clubs coming in, especially when Ineos signalled that there ain't anybody that they wouldn't sell in an effort to revitalise Manchester United. I think if you were playing a midfield 3, Mainoo plays every week. He is a very balanced central midfielder at his core. He's had an impact in some of the biggest games since his debut. He pops up with very important goals even under Amorim. He is definitely a big game player that's got the world at his feet. But there might be a situation that has to temper our expectations. Is Amorim likely to find a midfield partnership that suits Kobbie Mainoo? Probably not while Bruno Fernandes is still here. If Manchester United do manage to sign Carlos Baleba, whether it's this season or next season, does that improve or decrease Kobbie Mainoo's chances of success at Manchester United? It's hard to argue that they would improve his chances. You can see Kobbie Mainoo being a long-term successor to what Bruno is tasked with doing in the squad, being the number 8, being the progressor, being someone that's afforded the opportunity to carry the ball into the final third. You could see that. You could even make a case that he's more naturally suited to doing that role than Bruno Fernandes is. Someone that's probably got more disciplined midfield tendencies than Bruno does. But, like I said at the top, Bruno Fernandes will play. As captain, as someone that delivers so many goals and assists for the club, there is not a scenario in which Bruno Fernandes finds himself sitting on the bench at Manchester United watching somebody else play. So the question is, will Mainoo settle for another year of on and off the bench? That might be asking a lot for a player that's already seen the highs of what first team football has to offer. What do we think the best case scenario is for Mainoo this season? Would it be an injury? Is having him around in case you get an injury to Bruno Fernandes his best scenario? Can he make a run at it in the League Cup? Can he do 30 minutes a week? Bruno don't even get subbed. What should we do? Was it a mistake to keep Bruno Fernandes? I don't necessarily think selling someone so someone else can flourish is a good idea. I almost think the challenge should be go take his spot. You'll get 30 minutes a week, maybe. You get 5 days a week in training. Go take his shit. Be undeniable. Be in before him. Leave after him. Ask more questions. Ask better questions. Do longer in the gym. Work on your weak foot. Work on your shooting. Work on your positional discipline. Do everything possible because there's no negatives to hard work. If your hard work isn't recognised at Manchester United, you'll get a move and see it recognised elsewhere. That would be my advice to Kobbie Mainoo. Do the work. Take his shit. And if you don't get recognised here at Manchester United, someone will. But there's no negatives to hard work, especially when you've got the talent you've got. Like I said, don't believe in signing someone for the pure purpose of, or selling someone for the pure purpose of freeing up the space for a player to make his pathway through. I would just challenge a player to say, hey, you want that number 8 shirt? Go take it off him. See what happens. Cheers for tuning in. Please let me know your thoughts. See you in the next one. Latest. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.